Okay, so it is top of the hour right now, so I'll get started while I know people will still be joining us. So welcome to Genius School's webinar, or micro school, I should say, micro course on maintaining health and well-being through personalised education. Through this, we're going to discover our unique strengths and capabilities and understand how important they are in growing the confidence and self-awareness of young people. So I'm really happy to say I'm here with my trusty colleague, Karen Bonanno, who is our Teen Quest leader, and she leads the Young Entrepreneur Academy as well. I think you'll hear a little bit about those programs during the course of this call. So you'll be hearing from Karen very soon. And I'm Angie Stead. I'm the co-founder and leader of Genius School. So what we're going to cover today is why adolescent mental health needs to be addressed, and the impact of that on learning and life success. So it's not just a problem now, it's a problem for the whole of our lives. What parents and educators can do to identify and understand different personality types, and how different personality types react differently to stress, and how to understand the behaviors that may be exhibited. That it could be that your student or your child or your teen is struggling with something. We also have tools and assessments that can help young people discover their unique genius, their natural strengths and their natural capabilities. All of these things can help to grow confidence, if we can do that, we're helping improve our general wellness. We'll also cover how to understand and interpret the young person's uniqueness, and also how to respond in a positive and helpful way. So it's one thing understanding whether there's a problem or identifying the problem in the first place, but how do we respond to that in a way that is supportive and raises the self-awareness of our young people? And then we'll look at strategies that help young people to grow, growing their self-awareness and their ability to express themselves. So just as we start, I'll just go to the problem here. Now, we all know that maintaining mental health and well-being is a global problem, but there's been some research done by the World Health Organization on actually the state of mental health for adolescents. And these are the key facts that they've discovered through that research. And it's quite sobering that globally 1 in 7 10 to 19-year-olds experience a mental health disorder, which accounts for 13% of the global burden of disease in this age group. So pretty staggering statistic. Also, depression, anxiety, and behavioural disorders are among the leading causes of illness and disability amongst young people. So, that covers a whole raft of behavioural and learning disorders, but, anxiety and depression part of that too. And so sad to say, suicide is the 4th leading cause of death amongst 15 to 19-year-olds. And the consequences of failing to address this adolescent's mental health condition extends into adulthood. If we don't address this early on and support our young people in their early years, in their formative years, then and also through their schooling, then that's going to impair their life opportunities and their ability to lead a fulfilling and successful life as adults. So it's really important that we have these tools and strategies to maintain our health and well-being going forwards. So yeah, pretty sobering, but I'm sure not news to most of us. So the problem, big picture, is that students and individuals of all ages need a more personalised and engaging education system that equips them for life. So it's not just about our academic skills and our ability to retain knowledge, it's about life skills as well, interpersonal relationships, communication, emotional intelligence, all those life skills and skills that we need, what used to be called soft skills. We also know the current education system is largely delivering a standardized, out-of-date curriculum that most students and parents agree is failing our students. So, there's much in the way of statistical information around poor school attendance. Yes, COVID has made this situation a lot worse, but it was certainly a problem before COVID. It's just COVID has accelerated the impact of this problem. And then, of course, with the current job crisis and education crisis during this pandemic, the problem, like I say, is a lot more pronounced than it was ever before. So just a few things to be aware of or looking out for, and questions that I'll ask, but maybe just keep in your mind for now. When we're working with our young people, has your child or the young person you're working with exhibited any of the following problems? Constantly worrying over small things. So what you might think, well, don't sweat the small stuff, it's no big deal, but to them it's a huge deal. And you might not necessarily understand why it's a big problem. Now, that's definitely a huge stress indicator. Excessive stress, so linked to worrying over small things, but showing other signs of stress as well. So anxiety, which can look like picking, fidgeting, restlessness. They can all be outward signs of anxiety and stress. Appearing more tired than usual. If we think about the fight or flight response, tiredness and going to sleep or feeling sick and constantly feeling tired is just a way of avoidance. It's just an avoidance strategy for some of us. So, for some, there might be tantrums and irritability. For some, it might be appearing more tired and withdrawn and finding any excuse to retreat into their own room and be on their own. Trouble sleeping at night, another sign of anxiety and stress. And that's the same for us as well as it is for young people. Saying negative things about themselves, and linked to that as well is expressing feelings of worthlessness, the lack of confidence in themselves, not wanting to go out, not wanting to be seen, not wanting to be in groups. That could be all those things that are indicators. Significant weight gain or weight loss, extremes either side. And also appearing aloof or disinterested, maybe in things that they used to love to do. And we can often think, well, they're going through a phase. Well, that may well be the case, but is that phase an indicator that maybe our young people are suffering from some kind of anxiety or stress, particularly in these very, very challenging times? So all pretty sobering thoughts, but there are things we can do about it. So I'm going to hand over to Karen, who's going to take you through a fun exercise right now. So Karen Bonanno, I'd like to hand over to you. Thank you. And
hi, everybody. Sorry?
I'll keep an eye on the room.
Oh, okay, good. Thank you. If you'd like to go to the next slide for me, Angie, and I put a little message into the chat saying, I hope you've got pen and paper ready for this, because what we want to do is for you to be able to understand how to help your student or your child or a young person who is significant for you in your life. You have to kind of understand yourself as well. And we have this little quiz, and it is available in an online format, and I'll put the link in later. But we thought, because a lot of you may not have access to the online at this point, we could just do this exercise. So the very first thing that I want you to do is consider this first question, which says, which one do you enjoy doing the most? And I want you to write down either 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, only one answer, not a whole heap. And I want you to not overthink it. So just in your own way, respond to this. Which one do you enjoy doing the most? Number 1, having quiet time. Number 2, making new friends. Or number 3, bringing my creations to life. Or number 4, being of service and taking care of others. So only one answer. So I see someone's got in the chat 3, 4, 1, 2. So you've done an order. We only want you to have one answer at this point. So don't overthink that. So everybody, pen and paper, or write it down. And we'll go to number 2, because we're going to do a tally in a moment. So question number 2, this is looking at which one of these do you enjoy doing the least? So it's something that you're not actually excited about. It's one that you enjoy doing the least. You avoid it. So is it that you avoid having to go out and meet lots of people you don't know, or having to explain things twice to everybody? Or is it the least thing you enjoy is looking at the details in a spreadsheet, for example? Or number 4, you enjoy the least constantly coming up with new ideas and plans. So I want you to write down only one answer for that one. And then if we can go number 3, so we've got 5 questions to do. So we're kind of nearly halfway through. So which one do you find the easiest? Is it that you find organizing the details and data the easiest? If so, number 1. Or is it creating new plans and ideas you find really easy to do? Is it finding bargains, going out and being able to negotiate those bargains? Or is it number 4, getting on with people? So again, you only have one answer here. And then we're going to go to number 4. And this one is, which one do you find the most difficult? Reading the detailed instruction manuals? Or is it entertaining strangers you find the most difficult? Is it patiently waiting for answers? I can see some people are putting their results in the chat. It's good to see. And the number 4, coming up with great ideas really quickly. So which do you find the most difficult? 1, 2, 3, or 4? Only one answer for that one. All right, hope everybody's doing well. I can see heads are down, writing things down. Let's go to our final question. Which one describes you the best? 1, creative. Someone says you're creative. Or 2, someone says you're reliable. Number 3, outgoing. Number 4, detailed. So which one describes you the best? Okay, now we're going to go to doing our tally. We're going to do a little bit of a match up of the numbers here. So if we go to the next slide, if you go back to your question 1, and you, for that answer, which one do you enjoy the most? If you put down number 1, I want you to write the letter S. And we'll tell you about what this all means in a moment. If you put number 2, put a B. If you put number 3, put a D. If you put number 4, put T. So now you should have against your number a letter. All right, then we have question 2. Which one do you enjoy the least? Again, against the number that you wrote down for question 2, you'll now put a letter. Either S, 1 for S, 2 for D, 3 for B, 4 is T. All right. Let's go to the next slide then, Angie. And this one is question 3. Which one do you find the easiest? Again, it's a simple process. Whatever number you wrote down, I want you to write the matching letter that you see on the screen there for question 3. And then we come to question 4. It's the same thing again. Which one do you find the most difficult? Again, it's matching the number that you wrote down for question 4, putting a letter against that number. And then we come to our final question. Which word describes you best? Again, it's matching a number. So if you put 1, which would have been creative, then you put a D. If you put number 2 down, you'll put T. 3 is B, 4 is S. Now what we're going to do is tally your results. So I want you to count up how many Ds you have and put a number. So you might have 3 Ds or you might have 0 Ds. And then how many Bs you have. Again, do your tally. And then how many Ts. And then how many S's. Now, once you've got all that tallied up, if you have access to chat, you might just want to pop into the chat what your highest tally was. So I see Sarah's got D3. So 3 Ds, B's the highest for someone else. D, 3 B's, okay. Good, good, good. All right, now what I'm going to do is reveal the mystery behind these letters. So Angie, if we go to the next slide, this is something that we do, which is all involved about understanding your genius. Now I'm going to put into the chat where you'll find the online version of this, and I'll explain in a moment why that online version is really useful. So each of the energies that we have here, and this is all based around Carl Jung's archetypes, it's all based around the Chinese way of thinking. So all of these elements are there. So if any of you have done anything like a Myers-Briggs or DICE or something similar in a psychometric quizzes and tests, it's all related to that. It's all based on that same process. But we start in an early stage of developing an understanding. So for those who had a high tally of D, that stands for dynamo, which means that you're someone who is really ideas smart, you're switched on, you're energetic, you want to see the big picture of everything. If you have your high tally is the letter B, then you're a blaze. Now, a blaze person is what we would refer to as someone who loves to be around people. You get energized by being in the company of others. And I guess the pandemic has been a bit of a challenge for people like this, but you want to be around people and you want to connect with them. You want to have conversations, discussions, debates, deliberations. People are really important for you to be around and also for you to engage with. Then if you had lots of T's, well, that stands for tempo. And tempo was all about the timing and connecting in with your senses, in particular, connecting in with how you're feeling and really being caring and nurturing and observing everything that's happening around you. Then if we go around to the S for steel, this is someone who is more into the detail. They want to be able to check off the checklist and make sure everything's right, follow the instruction manual, follow the recipe to a letter, all those sorts of things around detail. And then in the middle, we have what everybody has within them is what we call a spirit energy, or what we refer to as being purpose smart. In other words, you have this innate sense of what it is that you want to get on and do in life, because this is all about you. And everybody has this. And what it does, it kind of allows us to make the transitions through life. And if we kind of show up as our particular genius energy, then what we're doing is we're being in flow. And that really helps us to connect with that spirit element, that inner self. Now, it's all important for us to understand this as the adults when it comes to what happens with our young people. And this is where I'm going to hand back to Angie, because Angie's now going to kind of transition this now from our focus on you to what might be happening in a young person's life.
Brilliant. Thank you, Karen. So just to, So one point to remember, the World Health Organization, this is a perfect quote from them. We can't have health without mental health. So, you know, it used to be that mental health and well-being was a taboo subject, and our primary focus was on our physical health. So now we are a lot more aware, and we recognize that mental health is just as important. Health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, not simply the absence of disease or infirmity. So that's why it's so important that we and or people like us are open to this conversation and raise people's awareness around mental health and well-being. So let's have a look. Now you understand your genius, whether you're blaze, dynamo, tempo, or steel. What does that mean with regards to our needs in order to maintain our feeling of well-being, and to, you know, to be able to have something to look forward to, something to live for, a reason for being, and to live in flow. So for our dynamo genius individuals, remember they're the big picture thinkers, they're ideas, smart people. It's really important for their well-being that they have a vision, that they have a compelling future, they have something to look forward to that is meaningful to them. Really, really important. Now, that's something to look forward to. It doesn't have to be going out and changing the world. It could be a hobby, because they're naturally focused on task. So if dynamo people have a task that they feel good about, that they can focus on, it supports their mental health and well-being. And I'm talking about now how we support them to maintain a positive state. So the behavior and the reaction is totally different when we're in a stress state, and we'll talk about that a bit further on in this this conversation. So it's something to look forward to for the dynamo who are task focused. For Blaze, it's the social connection to support their emotional well-being. Blaze are very much focused on emotions and focused on people. So to nurture their emotional well-being, to talk about how they feel, Blaze individuals are really communicative and like to talk things through in order to understand them. That includes their emotions as well. So talking about how we feel, making it part of the conversation around the dinner table, how are you feeling today? Build emotional literacy, so important. The more literate we are and the more words we have to describe how we feel, then the more we can express ourselves authentically to people who care about us. So that social connection is really important for Blaze. Then we come down to tempo, who are much more sensory. Tempo individuals, it's really important that they are nurtured. And when we talk about their physical well-being, I don't just mean that they're dressed warm and they've got plenty of warm clothes to wear and we feed, we have good meals to eat. I'm talking about all our physical needs. So how safe do I feel in my home environment? How safe do I feel in my school environment? How is the physical environment supporting my well-being? Is there a place I can go if I'm feeling overstimulated and overwhelmed with what's happening around me? Is there a place I can go and just be centered and meditate or practice mindfulness, things like that? So when we say physical, we mean from a holistic point of view. Yes, the ability, I've just seen in chat, the ability to self-regulate is really, really important, and tempo often do that through their senses. So if they're overwhelmed, they want to close down their senses and go within, and it's really supportive for all of us, but particularly for tempo energy people. And then we come to our steel energy individuals. Now, steel energy people they've got such a busy brain. They think logically and analytically, and they can overanalyze situations. They can overanalyze interactions. They can overanalyze anything, their project, their thoughts, their emotions. So steel energy individuals can often find it really challenging to switch off. So to give them the ability to actually withdraw, being introverted individuals, it's really good for them to be able to retreat and withdraw, and having I think the term is active relaxers. So sometimes having something to focus on, a hobby like music, or it could be reading, wherever the interest might be, can stop that monkey brain. And the more we can close that down for steel energy people, the more it supports their emotional well-being. Does that all make sense to everybody? Does, from a maintaining well-being perspective, it's really important. Yeah, cool. And we're not saying that these things are important for just those people. Remember, when we talk about your genius, we all have the same brains. This is like a map of the brain. We all have the same brains. Some of us are more dominant in certain parts of the brain than other parts of the brain. So this is important for all of us in order for us to self-regulate and manage our own well-being and our emotions. but some of us will be more dominant in a particular energy, which is the quiz you've just done with Karen. So promoting a supportive environment for each genius. So if we look at it really simply, Dynamo, being task-focused ideas people, need an opportunity to grow. They need a sense of significance, personal significance. Dynamo people very often are not too bothered what other people think of them, but they're very bothered about what they think of themselves. So an opportunity for them to experience personal growth and professional growth is really important for Dynamo energy people. So it is attached to significance, but not necessarily about what other people think. It's their own sense of what they've achieved, being task focused. For Blaze energy people, they love to glow. They love to be the life and soul of the party. Blaze energy is like basking in a warm by a warm fire, you know, that lovely warmth and glow, that lovely feeling that you get. That's what it feels like to be around a Blaze energy person. So the more we can allow them to glow, the more we can allow them the opportunity to shine in social situations and to interact with other people, the better they are, the more we're supporting their natural genius. For tempo energy, don't rush tempo energy too much. It's so important that everything is done in time. So that means slowing down time. We're more in autumn energy now. So for tempo energy, sometimes we just need to slow down in order to speed up. If we try and rush them along all of the time in a high stress environment, that creates tremendous stress for tempo energy individuals. So allow them time, allow them space, you know, and they're going to really, it's going to support them to self-regulate and understand themselves. And for steel energy, it's important to know. So never put a steel energy person on the spot and, you know, put them in a situation where, you know, maybe in front of other people, you put them in the spotlight. You'll see them actually scurry away and hide, or, you know, feel very uncomfortable about themselves, because steel energy, being logical and analytical, they like time to process. They think in detail that very often other energies miss. So they like time to analyze the information, to sift through that library in their brain, and to come up with a considered response to any questions. It's really important that they feel they know what they're talking about. Really important. So it's good, you know, to be aware of that with steel energy people and not put them on the spot. And they can feel good about what they know. They can feel good about the fact they can analyze and really, you know, articulate things really well, because they've done their research and they know what they're talking about. And in the center of all of this is flow. Now, when we are in flow individually and we're operating to our strengths, then that's good for our sense of well-being, our sense of self. But when you get all energies working together, it's magic, because when you get the people around you in flow as well, and you're in flow, then that's a really good positive environment that you're creating in your education establishment or in your homes. So to be aware of all the different energies and the strengths that each of them have, then the more opportunity you have for everybody to feel good about the contribution that they're making, because we are, after all social beings. So, you know, it's important we feel we're making a positive contribution to our family, to our schools, to our peers. So does that all make sense? Does anybody have any immediate questions from what we've shared there? We all good? I shall move on then. Feel free as we go. If anybody does have questions, then do type them in. Yeah, so someone's saying I'm a blaze, but I don't think I glow. Very often, that's Helen. Very often it's you don't see the glow, it's other people are naturally drawn towards you and other people will see it. So it's really a good exercise sometimes to ask other people how they see you. So it's really good. So many people can get confused with their energy. So I think what's a good thing to do is Karen has, I think, put the link into the online quiz. Take the online quiz, take it a few times, read more about it, become more aware of the tool, and you will find that you will realize that, you know, you'll pick an energy that suits you best. So so if we look at where the stress is created for each of these energies, so Dynamo, the greatest stress comes from loss of independence. Remember, Dynamo are task focused, creative, visionaries who come up with lots of ideas. To be creative and to come up with ideas, you need to have independence of thought and action. If you don't, it closes down the creativity. If we limit them, it will close down their ability to be creative. And therefore they can't express their true genius. They lose the prospect to individually shine. And that can be crippling for Dynamo genius individuals. So what would that look like? How do they behave and interact when they're in stress? Well, generally, if you think about it, your Dynamo energy, when you're in stress, your behavior will look like the opposite energy. So a Dynamo energy will find it, they're normally very task focused and motivated, but they'll find it hard to focus. They'll lose interest and they'll give up on things really easily. So if you know a Dynamo individual, you'd understand that that's really not how you'd normally see them behave. Procrastination. Dynamo are brilliant at starting things right. They're often not that good at finishing them because they're on to the next bright, shiny object, but they're brilliant at starting things and very motivated. So if you see them procrastinating and not being motivated to start something, there's a sign that they're not feeling so good. There's something wrong, and it could warrant, you know, further exploration about how they're feeling and their general well-being. And also impatience. Dynamo people can be very impatient, but if they are impatient to the point of, you know, this is not quite so normal and they don't seem to have any patience with anyone or anything, then you know there's something wrong and know to explore a bit more. When we look at blaze energy, blaze are naturally extroverted. So if you put blaze in a back office with a spreadsheet, then the flame soon goes out. You will see that the blaze person just kind of loses that spark, loses that natural warmth and that glow, and they become withdrawn. So a blaze person being totally withdrawn, and I don't mean taking time out to relax, I mean withdrawn as in unsociable, unmotivated, nothing feels like fun anymore. They don't want to go out and be with their friends. They, you know, things they used to do they're no longer interested in, then you know there's something wrong. So for a blaze person to be unsociable and unmotivated and not wanting to meet with their friends, then there's something not right there. So and the key point is understanding their natural genius and strengths, but recognizing when they're not in balance and they might be feeling stress. So can everybody see the slides? Karen, can we still see the slides?
Yes, I'm just wondering whether, yeah, so Loretta's giving a thumbs up there, so it might just be the device that Marta's using.
All right, okay, yeah, all right. So, and then when we look at tempo energy, tempo being sensory, tempo are not as outgoing as sociable as blaze, still sociable. We're all sociable, don't get me wrong, but some are more so than others. But tempo love to have more small group. They tend to make friends for life. They like more one-on-one or small group friendship groups. So they tend to have just a few best friends rather than Blaze having everybody's their friend and everybody loves them. If a tempo person is isolated, uncommunicative, locking themselves away in their room, they might not be taking care of their physical well-being. They might, you know, not be looking after themselves very well, spending all day in their PJs. And I don't mean just a pajama day. I mean, even beyond that, They can sometimes appear to be really moody, or sulky is another word. That can be a sign that, you know, our tempo genius individual is not feeling so great about themselves. So again, worth further exploration and conversations about their general well-being. And we all have these moods, all of us have these moments, but when it goes on for extended periods of time, then you know to do something about it. And as I said before, for steel energy, take away their certainty and then discomfort sets in fast. Steel energy like to know. So if you think it in that context, they like to know what's coming. They like to know what to expect next. They like to know that there's a rhythm and a structure to their day, and everything is predictable. So if you keep changing things on a steel person, you know, say maybe you're moving house, maybe there's been a huge change in jobs and you're moving countries, maybe it's something massive like that, or a change in the family circumstances, then steel energy individuals can be very, very stressed from that, and their monkey brain will keep over analyzing and thinking things through. They can become quite negative. And their behavior might be, you know, that normal introverted, calm, reserved, amazing individual is suddenly having unreasonable outbursts, and they might seem to be irrational. You know, it makes no sense. You know, they're having outbursts over nothing. These are all indicators that something is wrong. So again, we need to be exploring further. And what do we do when things go wrong? What practical steps can we take to support our young people? And why are we saying that education is part of the solution? Well, there's a number of reasons. You know, personalizing education is really, really important. But educating and growing self-awareness, the self-awareness of young people, is critical to their lifelong success and fulfillment. So education has a huge part to play in this. And this is a tool that can be used, that can support it can be used as a teaching tool as well to support young people in growing their understanding of themselves and how, you know, their natural strengths, brain-wired strengths and abilities, and how to recognize themselves when they're out of balance. You know, a steel energy person, for example, might not consciously be aware that the irrational outbursts are a sign of stress. But if we teach, you know, about the genius energies and use other tools to actually consciously teach this, then they're going to be aware themselves when they're not quite in balance. So the solution to all of this is really to connect to spirit. So the heart of learning and the heart of our genius is in the spirit energy, which is at the center, the core of our being. And if we connect with spirit, then we support our young people to connect with their purpose. We support them in creating a compelling future for themselves. You know, when you've got a compelling future pulling you forwards, then, you know, our young people are less likely to feel helpless and hopeless. If we can grow our self-awareness of our young people and help them to understand their natural strengths and abilities, then that grows their confidence. If we can grow their confidence, we're growing their belief in themselves. We're helping them to feel good about themselves, and that in turn has a positive impact on their mental health and well-being. If we understand too their natural energy and support their emotional well-being and their ability to self-regulate, and that can look different for each of the 4 genius energies as we've just shared, then we're teaching our young people to manage their own emotional well-being before it becomes an issue. So it's really important that we actually consciously teach this. And of course, when we connect with our passions and our purpose, we create meaning in our life. So that's another aspect. You know, connect with something that you love doing, connect with something that matters to you. You know, we use the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, as a tool to help young people to connect to something that has meaning. That grows fulfillment. And if we grow fulfillment, then of course we're feeling good about ourselves and feeling good about life too. So I hope this is helpful. If anybody has any questions, don't wait till we ask you. Just type them in chat and we'll keep an eye on that and answer them as we go, if we can. And if not, we can answer them afterwards. So thank you for your time there. I'm going to hand over to Karen, who's going to talk about some of the tools that we have for free that you can use to support your young people. So over to you, Karen.
Thank you, Angie. So what I'm going to do here, we did mention to you as one of the things that we'd cover, certain assessment and tools that you can use. And we've got a number of free tools that we use very regularly with any of the programs that we run with our young people. And again, I'll put the links to these into the chat. So you can actually save the chat at the end. As we get to the end, you'll see in the chat box, there are 3 little dots that sit beside the area where you key your comments in, and you should be able to click on that and save. So you'll have access to the links, but we will send a follow-up email and I will include that information in there as well. But what I want to do here is build on that previous slide that Angie talked about, where we're trying to get our young people to develop their positive mindsets and their well-being by being able to understand what they're really good at, what their natural capabilities and strengths are, but also too their passions that they're interested in, something that they can then really get interested in and engage in that will help them to feel good about the things that they do. So, and also helping them to turn up as their best self. So this is one tool. So we did that Genius test at the beginning, which was geared for the adults. And we have actually one that is created for teens. And the idea is for them to understand their natural pathway to success. So when they follow that, they can get into their flow. Yeah, just jumped there, Angie, if we can go back a slide.
Sorry, I was letting someone in, so sorry.
Yeah, you get a bit trigger happy there every so often. I'll have to keep an eye on you. So we have the Teen Genius quiz. So again, I'll just grab the link and pop it into the chat for you. And I'd encourage you that if you have young people, whether they be in your family or whether they be in your classroom or whether they be in your neighborhood even, to get them to take this little quiz, because when they take the quiz, they get around about an 8-page report. And that report is really good for them because it helps them to understand their own genius, but also the others as well, because that's important for them to then know how other people might show up in their life and how they might even support those other people because they do know what their natural strengths, capabilities are. And the little micro degree that goes with this covers off on a number of little videos. One is, how they can learn using their genius and learn in a constructive and productive way and learn in a more natural way for them. And then how they can live their life. In other words, look at the winning formulas that they can adopt so that they can live their life with a feeling of success and achievement. And then if they have attributes for leadership, it gives them an idea of some of the things that they can do to step up as a leader. Because Angie mentioned before, like the dynamo was task oriented. The blaze is people, the tempo is more, collaboration, connection. And of course, the steel is more calculation and measurement oriented. So each energy has different ways where they show up in a natural leadership role. And then we say also how to love. This is love life. We're not going to get into the other side of love with young people, but it's the loving life. So what they can do to love their life and to live it to the full. And that way, then what they do is they learn how to grow in their flow and to get into a far more positive state by understanding themselves of who they really are and how they show up. So that's one free little tool that we have, their little assessment tool. And then in this day and age where we're really starting to see how young people are also showing up and wanting to become more entrepreneurial, not just doing the pocket money routine, but doing something, following their interests and becoming more entrepreneurial, we actually run a Young Entrepreneur Academy, and this is a little tool that we use to help to get them into this frame of mind of what it is to be a young entrepreneur. So again, if you have a young person who has interests in being an entrepreneur, I'll just put it into the chat here so you've got that link as well. So this one is all about, again, it's a quiz that they do, and then they get an 8-page report which talks about them as an entrepreneur, the way that they can start to really do things. So if they're, say, a dynamo, then they're really into using their intuition to know what needs to happen in business and what people are needing. You know, if they're into more the tempo as an example, then it's really knowing the timing of when things need to be launched and where they need to be placed so that people can see this product or service. We also have a little bonus in there, because this bonus on the free Teen Money Challenge is to help them to develop financial literacy. And it's a really great little course that we put them through. It's free, that they can do it, but they're developing an understanding of what it is to be financially literate, to know how to measure their money and to look at basic things that they would understand if they were entering into business as well, where it's, you know, profit and loss, money in, money out, all those sorts of things. So it's a short little program that they do. And again, it's free. It's all really there as a great tool to be able to help young people along the way. Then our next one we've got, you know, and it's a case of, you know, and there's more. We've got them here for you. So these are really great for young people to be able to do. When we talk about this next one, about being in passion, when young people are allowed the opportunity to follow something that they're interested in, something that they're passionate about, something that they love doing, it may be a hobby, it could be a sport, it could be anything in that regard, then it helps them to feel a sense of value. And here, again, it's talking about really gaining clarity about how to follow their passions, how to pursue something that's going to be rewarding and helpful for them. And this little program, again, it's just a quiz that they go through. It helps them to identify the top, say, 5 passions that they're interested in. And again, there's other little videos that go with it to then help them to explore that a little bit more. And again, it's a free little program that's there. Then we've got one more free one that I'm going to talk about, and it's all aligned with purpose. And what we're seeing is even within school curriculums, I know here, you probably picked up my accent is Australian. So in Australia, in our curriculum for schools, we have components in there which help young people to look at how they can investigate and explore the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. What we do in Genius School is we get them to explore it in different ways, whether it be in setting up a business, or whether it be in creating a persuasive speech and doing research around that. We get them to focus on making sure that they are adopting a purpose-based approach and a purpose-based impact in the things that they do. And again, what we find is that when we give young people the opportunity to do this, they really start to step into their own space and they own the work that they're doing, whether it be setting up a business. If they can see that their business has an impact and it's purpose-based and purpose-driven, then they can see a sense of achievement in that particular process. So this little free purpose test, and also there are little videos that go with it as well. This helps people to look at how they can align their purpose and have an impact by understanding what it is to be engaged in not only just showing up, but understanding it and then giving back to the world through the work that they do. Now, these are the free ones, and I am going to mention one that is for a small cost. And this is a profiling tool. As I said at the beginning, some of you have probably done psychometric tests with your employer maybe. We've got one that is all designed for young people, and it's all around helping them to identify their individual unique characteristics that are specific to them. It identifies their strengths. It identifies the best roles for them to work, say, in groups. It identifies, in a broad brushstroke, the job opportunities that would be out there for them, in the industries anyway, at least. But it also identifies where they may have some weaknesses which align with what Angie was referring to before, of how someone may show up when they're under stress. So this is a more detailed report. It's around about 25 pages, and it's really useful. What I encourage young people to do with this is to actually include it in their digital portfolio as part of their living curriculum vitae or resume, whatever you may call that. And I'm going to put that link in here as well, in case you want to be able to, maybe gift it, or you may want to invest in a young person or your child to get them to do this team dynamics profiling, and they get their report, which gives them a lot more information. And again, when they get to read the report, I know it's old school in a way, I get them to print it out and get a highlighter pen and start highlighting the key words that pop out at them, that they go, aha, that's me. Yes, I know that's me. Oh, yes, that's my strength. Oh, I know I can do that. Yes, I've experienced that success. Yes, I've adopted that role when I've been working with a group. So these are all useful tools for everybody to be using. So I see any questions that have come through, Angie. I haven't really been looking at the chat there.
Yeah, we've had a few comments, which is really good. Talking about, how it's useful. Just comments. But please do, old school is still alive. I like that one.
Yeah. Yeah, don't forget though to save the chat, like those 3 little dots that sit in the chat box. And that way then you'll have these links to go back. Because as soon as we finish this time together, that chat disappears. Whereas if you can save it, you'll be able to go back and have access to those particular links.
Cool. Thank you, Karen. And this brings us also to the solution. In Genius School, we think that it's really important to have whole child education, that all education experiences should be personalised, and they should be structured in such a way that grows the self-awareness of the individual. We very often ask young people, well, what do you want to do when you leave school? What do you want to be when you grow up? When really we should be asking them who they are. What do you know about yourself? What are your strengths? What are you great at? Because if we don't know who we are, how can we possibly know what we want to do or be in the future? So it's really important that we grow the self-awareness of individuals. In doing so as well, to grow their ability to express themselves. And there are so many ways we can do that, through their creativity, through their projects, through their conversations, through their interactions with other people. And when we talk about self-expression, we mean the truest expression of their genius, of who they are. So they're taking all their skills and talents and they're making a positive contribution to society. So they're seen as being valued and valuable, which is so critically important. And education should be all about that. And in doing that, we are then setting them on the path to self-mastery. And when we look at who's that? Not Howard Gardner. Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and he says that we all have a hierarchy of needs. But the ultimate goal is self-actualization. We call that self-mastery. As we're learning and we're growing and we're experiencing, we're constantly evolving and growing and becoming a better version of ourselves. So, and in doing so, we are on the path to living a fulfilled life and achieving our true potential, which is really, really important. So there's a comment here as well, asking kids nowadays what they want to do. They don't have any idea. That's so true. It's really, really important because, when we don't know who we are, how can we know what we want to do or be in the future? And also, the jobs that exist today won't exist when many of our young people leave school. So because the world is changing so fast. So it's really interesting. So a comment there as well too, and we need to also design it so it's not a pyramid. Yes, I see what you mean. So we're not talking about a hierarchy of some people being at the top of the pyramid and others being at the bottom. We're talking about everybody is on that journey towards self-actualization. So it's an individual journey as well. So it's not about other people being above above people below them. Not that at all. It's a very personal journey. So I would like to hand back to Karen, who's going to talk about some real world learning experiences.
Yeah, it's really, I guess I'm speaking here from the way that we engage the young people when I'm working with them and Angie's working with them with the Genius School. What we try and do is we look at learning how to learn, not what to learn. And we focus on giving them the opportunity to look at the world around them and then to come up with solutions to world issues or world problems or concerns that they might have. And I'll share with you a couple of, I guess, success stories that we had with a number of young people. But when we involve them in this real world learning environment, we're doing a number of things, and they're listed there below in the slide. The very first thing we're doing is we're giving them the chance to develop these future ready skills, whether it be communication and collaboration, effective presentation, character building. All of these things are happening as they're engaging in this. And then as educators, we're just working alongside them and guiding them through this whole learning journey. But the important part is we start at that first level where Angie was talking about the self-awareness. That's where we start. We help them to see that they have value right where they are and who they are. And then we start to engage them in the real world learning to help to develop that self-expression. And then as they're doing it, they're developing the mastery of the skills. So they're developing their learning through their own personalized learning pathway. So for example, when we do our Young Entrepreneur Academy, they actually set the intention and the objectives and the goals of what they want to achieve in that particular program. And then we help them to work their way through that. So there are challenges that they face. And because we scaffold and support them all along the way, they are able to navigate those challenges and to start to develop their confidence as they go through that process. Everything that we do is around purpose. So it is purpose-driven, whether it's a purpose-based project or a purpose-based profitable business, it's all purpose-driven. And then it helps them to align with that sense of the question of why, which is all around that sense of being in flow and being in the element of being in spirit. Along the way, we're helping them to be leading learners because we tend to be the guide on the side rather than the person out front as the fount of all knowledge with these kids. In fact, we find that we learn a lot from them because they bring to us a whole lot of information. Because they come to us with what they already know about something, we help them to build on that to develop some new knowledge that they then integrate and synthesize into their existing thinking to then come up with whatever it is that they want to explore as a real world learning experience. And along the way, then what we're doing is we're giving them these lifelong learning skills that they can transfer from one learning space into another, from adolescent into adulthood as well. So just to give you an example in this next slide, talking about a success story, this is with a program we call Teen Quest. And it is that, it's a quest. We set them this challenge. This is the challenge-based, and we put up, it's a little bit like, I think, is it 007 or maybe, no, it's Mission Impossible. You know, it's a case of this is the challenge, should you choose to take it. So we get them set in this space where it's more of an adventure and it's fun. And we get them to choose the topic. So this young lady, Sam, she came to us, and when she first started in the program, she was very withdrawn and reserved and a little bit shy and was unsure about how things were going to go. And then as we progressed through the program, we could see that she was really taking charge of the topic that she wanted to pursue. And as you can see there in the slide, it says that she was concerned about the impact the pandemic was having, or the lockdowns in particular, on the mental well-being of young people. And as we explored this with her, she was telling us eventually, when she gained her confidence and a little bit of courage, she said, I've been experiencing this. This is why I have a concern, because I know that I'm not alone. And so she put together a very effective multimedia presentation. She did the voiceover, she did all the slides and the way she put the video together. And it was all around mental health and teens, and it was a persuasive message that she wanted to get out to adults in the world to say, these are some things that you can do to help young people around you to be able to cope with what is happening with this total crisis and change to our well-being and change to our lifestyle. So for her, that was a success story. And in the end, she was really confident. It came to presentation day, and she was very confident in getting up and sharing her video with us and with the other people who were in the group as well. So that was one success story that we experienced. And then the next one is a young fellow, because during particularly pandemic time, we shifted a lot of our programs into an online environment, which I guess is a challenge in itself for different personality and genius types. But this young fellow, he would come on, and the very first couple of days, all we saw was the top of his head. And we didn't see too much else, and he wasn't very talkative. But because we'd done a couple of those little assessment tools with him, we understood his particular energy and what his strengths and capability were. And so we just continued to nurture that and to not put him under pressure, because he was a steel energy. So if you remember, the steel is more withdrawn and introverted and really wanting to just manage their own space and take their time, not be the first one to put their hand up, have time to think, have time to process things through. So we just gave him that space to be able to do that. And then as we progressed through, eventually we began to see more of we began to see then the eyes. And then as we got to the end of the program, we got to see him on camera and being comfortable in speaking and being able to share his particular project that he was working on, which was a business. And amazingly, his business was all about putting together YouTube videos that are all around providing insights and tips into being an effective gamer. So it was really interesting to take that journey with him. And it was just really aligning ourselves and giving him the space and the time, and also nurturing his particular natural way that he was wanting to interact with us, as well as the way that he wanted to learn as well. So that brings us to the next slide, which is really a case of, if we really are going to be effective in the way that we nurture or the way that we are engaging with young people, we have to really be teaching the way that they learn. And that's why those assessment tools, those free assessment tools, are really going to be useful for you, not only if you're in education, but if you're a parent, is how you can understand the way that you would be, imparting life skills to your child along the way that are going to be positive reinforcement for them as they're developing their more positive, healthier mental health situations. And the important thing is, it takes a village to raise a child. We are not alone in all of this. There are people around us. And in fact, it's going to be important that community becomes more involved in being able to support and nurture the young people, particularly in these challenging times. In fact, as an educator within Australia, we have an element of our curriculum which is all focused on the development of self-awareness and social responsibility. And it's all around really making sure that we're developing the whole child in this space. And by involving the community, and this is something that we do within Genius School, is that we engage mentors, entrepreneurs, other people who have the different skills to come along and support the whole learning program for the young people. So it's important that as we work in education, regardless of where you come from, that it becomes this whole community village raising our young people. So the other aspects that we've got here, as I mentioned, we've probably mentioned these before about the global goals and the real world. And just as an example of when we actually get to those magic face-to-face moments, in the next slide, we actually have the opportunity where we're bringing our young people together. And this is important because that all brings in the whole social interactivity, bringing like-minded young people together to talk about things that are of interest to them. This particular face-to-face event was held on the foreshores of a beautiful area called Moreton Bay, where the humpback whales come through. And so we set them and immersed them in the environment where they were able to understand how important it is and be involved in the whole process of taking care of that space as well. And this is the thing, I think if we give our young people a sense of purpose and that they feel valued for their contribution, that contributes a lot to their mental well-being in many regards. So I'm going to hand back to you, I think, Angie, at this point.
Okay, cool. Thank you for sharing that, Karen. It brings back some really happy memories of some amazing young people, doesn't it? So I want to also, you'll have heard us referring to the word genius as we've been going through this presentation with you. And it's really important that you understand what we mean by the word genius. So it's not just the gifted and the top few elite students. It's not neurodiverse students, it's all students. So it's really, the meaning of the word genius is, it's derived from two Latin terms, genius meaning as above, and ingenium, which is a related noun, referring to our innate dispositions, our talents, and our inborn nature. So it's beginning to blend the concepts of the divine and the talented, and that's what we mean by the word genius. So the ancient Romans believed it was a unique spirit or personality that resides within our body for the whole of our lives. So everybody is a perfectly imperfect genius, and that's the foundation on which we build all of our programs. So, you know, there's that great quote, isn't there? Today you are you, which this is truer than true. There's no one alive that is youer than you. And that is so true. That's Dr. Seuss. I'm sure most of you recognize it. That is so true. And it's so important that everybody, every young person understands that. If that's true, and we truly believe that, then their life and their contribution is really, really important to all of us. So in that, you know, well, our goal is that everybody has a personalized learning experience. As Albert Einstein so famously said, everybody's a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing it's stupid. So, you know, it's about treating people with equal concern, personalizing learning experiences so they can see that as an individual, they are just amazing young people and they have a positive contribution to make to society. And just a reminder, in our chat is all the links to the quizzes. You know, these free tests are real fun to explore and to help to raise your own self-awareness, but that of the students around you as well. So we do encourage you to go and have a play with them and just see what that means for you as well. Because as one of you said quite rightly in the chat, you know, learning this for yourself helps you to understand it at a deeper level so you can teach the young people around you some of these great strategies and skills. So what does that mean to us as parents? What does it mean to us as educators and as responsible adults in society? Remembering that it does take a village to raise a child. Well, we have educator programs, and we have an opportunity for you today to join our educator community. This is really useful if you have If you have young people in your life, if you are an educator, if you're a homeschooler, if you're a grandma, granddad, wherever your role might be, if you have a young person in your life, then you make an important contribution, either consciously or unconsciously, to their well-being and to their potential for the rest of their lives. So we run certified educator programs. So the idea is that we train educators to be able to ignite the genius in young people and to really bring out their strengths and their natural abilities. We also teach the skills, the necessary skills for the future, how to ignite that spark. So we grow the entrepreneurial spirit. So those young people in your life, whether they be your students or your family, they can go and create their own job or create their own pathway, and they're not dependent on somebody else to give them opportunities. And we've had, as Karen shared, we've had young people go through our programs who've started their own business. Now, that might not be the business they do for the rest of their lives, but the skills that they learn in starting that business are transferable skills. So, you know, they can start one business, you can start another. So that mindset you carry with you for the rest of your life. And also understanding their strengths and capabilities. If you're going down that professional route and you're looking for more an academic route to your future success, the same skills apply. And people are saying this now in corporate environments, that, you know, they're looking for young people with the entrepreneurial spirit. They're not looking for people who know how to do stuff. They're looking for people who know how to work with people who know how to do stuff. So it's really, really important that we develop this entrepreneurial mindset. So we've got free content. So we've shared some of it here today, but, you know, we have more content available as well. We have our Genius School Youth Consultant, which is the first step on our Genius Educator pathway. That's an online self-paced program. We have our Genius Educator certification program. We have our accreditation, and we have our partnership as well. But our focus for today is on the Genius Educator certification program. So we're running that next program on the 19th of September. So it's virtual, it's high touch, high tech. So it's some virtual content. It's an hour a day, and we connect, and you actually get mentored by Karen and myself throughout this program, and we actually teach you how to use all the tools that we've talked about tonight, but also how to develop a real good understanding of the Genius School philosophy, how to profile teams and provide debriefs, learning about our principles and methodology, discover how you can personalize learning experiences. So, you know, if you're supporting somebody in their schoolwork, you know how to do it in a way that really ignites their genius and works to their strengths. And also discover how to facilitate online and offline learning as well. And once you've gone through this program, you can actually create your own educational business. And what's more, Karen and I will support you on that journey in doing so. So, you know, it includes the Flow Consultants micro degree. That itself is valued at $1,500. Same with the Youth Consultant micro degree. That's a $1,500 program. And our 10-day virtual Genius Educator training is a $3,500 program. So I'm a genius, so I can add that up really well. So that's $6,500 worth of programs. And we are actually, I'm sorry, one more thing to cover. It also includes 25 of the Team Dynamics profile tokens. So remember when Karen shared earlier that she talked about you can go and do an in-depth profile for Team Dynamics, and it was $49. Well, you get 25 of those tokens for free, and you get 25 of the Talent Dynamics profiles, which is similar test, but that's for adults. So you can go and profile and debrief teens and their families, which helps, you know, to support that reciprocal relationship. So from that, you can generate revenue. If you use all your tokens, you can generate $15,000 worth of revenue through doing that. So what does the Genius Educator program include? Well, it includes a 12-month license, which is again valued at $1,800. It includes 12 monthly group calls, group mentorship calls. Now that's with Karen and myself. So we actually meet every month with our Genius Educator community, and we coach and mentor you on your education business or on questions you might have around education. And you also have access to our Genius U platform, which and that's for 12 months as well. So you'll have mentor status. Now, what does that mean to you? That means that you can put up content, you can put your programs up on Genius U that other people, other students or adults can actually access. They might be for free or they might be paid programs that you put up there. And like I say, Karen and I will be coaching you each month on how to do that, and supporting you along the way with accountability. So you may be invited to facilitate Genius School programs. So Karen talked earlier about Teen Quest and our camps and our Young Entrepreneur Academy, where we have educators in our community who facilitate those programs with us and for us. And you can earn revenue doing that as well. So sometimes we'll fill a program and we're looking for facilitators, or you might want to go and run your own Genius camp. Well, we give you all the tools and all the strategies for you to do that, all the processes, so you can just go ahead and you can run a camp, like a 2-day virtual or face-to-face self-awareness program in your local community, which is hugely valuable. We've seen some amazing transformations from young people who have been through this 2-day experience. So we've actually put the whole microcamp content in a micro degree on Genius U. So although we'll train you on how to deliver it and how to personalize learning, the whole curriculum and the tools in order to deliver your camp are in this portal that you can access anytime. So, and the program is designed to help people grow their self-awareness and self-expression. So in running the camps, you can earn anything from $400 facilitating a camp, or you can lead your own camp and earn up to $3,000 per camp as well. So I'm not going to go through the whole process because that's all part of the training. But in summary, this is what we've included. So it's total value of, if you were to add everything up, it would be a total value of $21,000. But for anybody who's interested and expresses their interest today, then we'll do this for $2,000. So you can earn all your money back just by using your tokens and more, and you have the potential to earn up to $40,000 a year. But I do want to say the learning is priceless. If you've got young people in your life and you want to support them on their education journey, you can't put a price on the transformation that the young people can have with some of the tools and strategies that we'll teach you. So if you are interested, if you have questions, book a call, and we can answer your questions on the call. Or if you're interested and ready to take action, do exactly that. Book a call. The calls are free. You will find the call in itself valuable. So if you have any questions, do book a call, have a conversation, no obligation whatsoever. And I'm sure even from that call, you'll get something valuable to take away for yourself. So Helen, please do, if you'd like to book a call, the link, oh, Karen, if you put it in chat there, just use that link that's in chat to book a call. You click on the link and it'll take you right through to the calendar and you can book a call straight away. So it would be really great to have you on this journey. And like I say, if you're not sure, just book a call and have a conversation. And then, you know, it's a no obligation call and all it costs is your time. So I definitely encourage you to do that because we would love to see you on the other side. So, and I'd like to end with this quote because this really is close to my heart, by Nelson Mandela, and that education is the most powerful weapon that we can use to change the world. And I totally believe that's true. Changing the world one young person at a time and one educator at a time. we should never underestimate the value and the impact we have on young people. So, and in doing that, it's so great to see many like-minded individuals being part of this conversation with us. Really great to have you on the call. And Karen, I'm sure, great to be joining this call with you too, Karen. So always fun.
Yeah, and just letting everyone know that we have a lot of fun when we're doing our educator training, but we have even more fun when we're working with our young people. We have great conversations, and we get really inspired by what they share with us. And when that happens, I kind of feel that the world will be in better hands in future years when we have these young people engaged in what we're doing. So thank you for folk who are putting in there for the information, thanking us for that. It's a pleasure to be able to share this with you. And as I said, we'll get an email to you tomorrow. So if something happened that you missed a bit, you'll be able to catch up. And I've taken note to include a few extra bits in the email for people who couldn't save the chat. So look out for that tomorrow, and really look forward to maybe seeing you on one of our programs, but also maybe even on some of our future calls that we have, where we're continuing to share with you the way that we can continue to support young people, and also you as adults as well in life and the adventures that lay ahead.
For sure. Yeah. Thank you, Karen. And thank you, everybody. And like I say, if you have any questions or anything, just book a call and we can chat to you there. So enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed my time with you. Thank you so much, Karen. And we'll see you hopefully on the other side.